The holidays are here and New Year's is right around the corner. And a lot of you have noticed that things have not changed and you are fearing that it's not going to change, right? Some of you that I work with also have goals that you want for Christmas to reflect, and some of you for New Year's too. And I'm going to go into this video on how to actually deal and look at things and how to use the 3D as a way to benefit yourself, actually, to return to a state. So that being said, as you guys already know, I'm Michael from EmbodyTheState.com, and I'm going to be breaking things down for you in a simple way, as I always do. So let's just dive into it. And right before I do, all I ask is if you get anything of value in this video, just hit that like button, so therefore it reaches a greater audience. So just like it helped you, it can help somebody else that's also suffering or wanting to learn more things, okay? Now let's get into it. The 3D, you know, you all the time, anyone that works with me, I go into deep detail as to how it's literally a mirror. It's a reflection of who you are, right? And what you're returning to dominantly. If you know what I teach, then you know I'm teaching source material. You know that I'm teaching not my opinion. I'm teaching what the greats have left for us, the ancients, whatever you want to call them, right? And you know that this stuff is fun when you finally understand it. So by the time you finish a call with me, right, I'm sure a lot of you guys, especially the recent clients, you know, and one of them left, or two of them left a comment in my last video about how, you know, more empowered they feel and how wonderful life seems to appear after they understand the law to a deeper level. You know, that's how you're supposed to live. You're supposed to live with this sense of knowing, this trust, this power, right? And a lot of you guys look at your 3D and instead you give your power away. You just toss it out, right? And this video is something I'm inspired to make because I literally just got in not too long ago. I didn't even have time to settle in. I just was like, you know what? Let's make a video. And this is something that I really want to give to you guys, especially because Christmas is tomorrow and New Year's is around the corner. And I want you guys to really understand that, number one, things aren't over until you say it's over. And number two, even if it doesn't come the day you want something, because I'm personally not a fan of time crunch manifestations, especially if you don't know even, you know, anything past surface level of manifestation, right? It's like, you know, it's like trying to learn how to drive a Formula One car and you don't even have your regular driver's license. You've never driven a car, period, right? Why would you put that much pressure on yourself? But nonetheless, I know people have their desires and they want them sooner than later. And what I'm going to show you guys is pretty much how to use the 3D to snowball yourself into, you know, that momentum, into that trust, into the new self-concept, the new beliefs, right? So I want you to understand, I always repeat myself. As Reverend Ike would say, I am intentionally redundant because this stuff really is simple. You know, it's really about understanding and trusting and returning to this knowledge. And when you realize that our outer world is literally a reflection of our inner world, it makes no logical sense to look at things the way that you've been looking at them, especially if a lot of you have been fearing your 3D and looking at the lack of movement and feeling bad about yourself. I want you guys to realize that you can actually use your 3D as a way to return to the preferred state, right? Because remember, a state of consciousness is just something that is already created. It's already existing. You can slip into it any point you want, right? You don't have to do anything crazy magical or, you know, go into like a 40-minute meditation, super vivid, you know, visual if you don't want to. It's just a decision, boom, just like that. And you know, you can slip into states, and those states, it's like, think of it like its own reality, its own life, right? And when you return to a state of having your SP and you're feeling loved and you're feeling what you think it would feel like to have that knowing that they're finally yours, or you jump to that moment that they gave you that, you know, the good news that you've been hoping for, or for business success, you know, you finally hit that, you know, that marker 3 months in a row of what you wanted to make per month. Doesn't matter. Whatever your goal is, just apply the same stuff in this video towards it. But understand that your job is to jump into those states and understand that those states, if you make that something that you return to frequently, more than any other state of consciousness, and you do it in a fun and loving way, not in a way where you just robotically do things or you force it when you don't feel like it and you're crying tears because you're reacting to the 3D and you think, if I don't persist, it's not going to happen. Trust me, guys, it's not supposed to be like that. And a lot of you that I work with recently have told me how relieved you are. And for those of you that are watching this that have worked with me recently, feel free to talk about your experience, about how, you know, how you feel empowered and how you understood finally how simple the law is and what the 3D is and so on and so on. Because I'm telling you, it's a breath of fresh air when you fully understand the law to a deeper level than what's on YouTube, right? So that being said, when you realize, okay, Christmas is around the corner, and some people I work with personally, they really have goals of, oh, I want this SP by Christmas. I want to have a nice snowy Christmas, and I want to enjoy Christmas with them, and I want to have that New Year's kiss or whatever. And a lot of you guys, especially today, that's why I'm making this video, and I guess that's why I'm inspired to make it, but a lot of you today are, concerned. I'm sure there's some of you that are literally doing what you're supposed to do, and you're trusting in your inner world no matter what happens. But I know that there are also an amount of you that are going to sit here today, and you're going to be looking at your 3D from the perspective of, I don't know if it's going to happen. It's Christmas is tomorrow. Like, what are the odds things happen now? I must have been doing something wrong. Why hasn't things changed? So on and so on. Maybe I didn't fulfill myself enough. Am I even entering the state properly? I'm sure all these doubts are coming in for some of you, right? But you got to understand, entering a state is just a decision, right? And your 3D is just feedback. It's showing you who you've been and who you are, pretty much. And when you understand, when you return to being someone else on the inside, right? I'm not talking out here in your 3D and in this dead world. I'm talking about on the inside. When you realize that, you're going to realize that, okay, what I'm doing inside of myself has no choice but to conform on the outside. It has no choice to reflect on the outside, right? And you guys have seen me use the example of a projector, when, back in school, right? If you're old enough, those little projectors that the teacher would kind of bring in on a dolly, and, they would put that little see-through, like, laminate paper, slap it onto the projector, and then it gets, like, blown up onto the wall, right? You're just selecting what piece of paper you want to slap in there and project, but you're doing that consciously, right? And when you realize me doing that again and again and enjoying this experience that I prefer to have, then there's no point in looking out here and feeling bad. But nonetheless, let's get into that little tip that I want to, teach you guys to snowball, when you use your 3D and to kind of snowball your momentum. So recognize that, yes, right now you might not have your desired life. You might not have your dream life. You might not have your SP. You might not have the money, success. It doesn't matter. But I want you guys to really understand that when you look at the 3D and you become aware and you see the bad meaning the lack, the bad meaning, it could be, it doesn't matter, like the SP didn't text you. It could be, your bank account is not what you want it to be. I don't care what it is, insert it here, it all applies the same way. When you notice the bad, understand that you can still look at the bad and understand, I don't have to react to this the way that I normally would, and instead I could use it to show me what I would prefer. So do I prefer this 3D in front of me? And the answer is obviously no, right? A lot of you watching this, do you prefer your current life as opposed to the life that you wish you had? And the answer is going to be no. A majority, if not all of you, are going to say, no, I wish I had my SP. I wish I was living the life where I had my preferred height, or, this or that, or, love, money, blah, 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 car, doesn't matter. But realize, okay, when you see your 3D, allow that to be the thing that kind of reminds you of what you prefer, if that makes sense, right? When you see the lack, when you see the things bothering you, train yourself, consciously use that. As soon as you start noticing that you're aware of the things that bother you, and you're aware of the things that haven't changed, and you're aware that Christmas is tomorrow and things might not change. Okay, so we'll use an example with SP people, okay? So Christmas is tomorrow. And now you're aware, okay, Christmas is tomorrow. I was hoping that, I've been doing all this work, and I was hoping that I would have my SP and I get to cuddle with them and kiss them and spend Christmas with them, and it'll be loving and it'll be a memorable thing forever and blah, blah, blah. Okay, who said that it's not going to happen tomorrow? And even if it doesn't happen tomorrow, are you going to be upset if it happens on Boxing Day, right? On the 26th or the 27th or the 29th? No, right? Like, would you actually care? Even if it was a month from now, if you knew for a fact a month from now you were going to get your desire, do you really think you would be sitting here upset that today or tomorrow nothing has changed, right? And the answer is no. You're going to just realize, okay, I can just enjoy what's to come because I now know that it's going to come, right? And the only difference is there's a disconnect between knowing it's going to come and trusting that, right? And that's what I want you guys to use, is when you see the 3D, allow yourself to understand, okay, I am now seeing the things I don't like. And right then and there, let that be your switch that you trigger, right? Let that flip that switch. I'm now aware that things haven't changed. I'm aware that there's lack. I'm aware that, I'm a little worried, whatever it may be. Understand that, okay, wait a minute. what I'm doing on the inside has to be reflected outside. What would I prefer instead of what I'm seeing right now? And this is where that little trick comes in, right? It's that little choice of, okay, yes, I see everything I don't like, but what would I prefer to see instead? What would I prefer to be living in instead? If I could choose any reality to live in, if all timelines exist all at once, and all realities are existing and every possibility is there, and I can select which one I wish to return to, then which experience would I rather have as opposed to this current one that seems so real to me, right? Even though this 3D you're all living in is the past, is dead, is old, right? And a lot of you don't even realize that. So use that. Look at your 3D, look at the lack, look at things not changing. Every time you catch yourself doing that, go straight to what you would prefer, and instead enjoy that in your imagination, whether it's, you have one picture that you see in your mind, whether it's a vivid, or even not even a vivid, but even if it's just like a short 5-second video that's like blurry, it doesn't matter. It's the state that matters. Even if you just hear something that implies to you, or at least reminds you to step into that awareness of being the one who has it already, right? You might hear, opening Christmas presents, it could be anything, and then to you that means that your partner is opening a present you got them, right? And how would that make you feel if they were opening something that you knew that they loved, right? Which implies you guys are together. Maybe you hear them tell you, "Oh my God, I'm so happy we got back together." Or maybe you start thinking about you finally made that income you wanted per month, right? That some of my clients, they want to be making 2, 3, 4, 5,000 a day. And I don't scoff at that. I don't laugh at that, right? Some people, that's like insane. To some people, their beliefs allow them, to look at that and be like, that's way too much. Like, I'd be happy with just 5,000 a month, right? But it doesn't matter. Anything you want is possible as long as you want it, right? So when you start noticing the bank isn't what you want it to be, when you start noticing that the 3D, hasn't reflected that SP, that love, for the holiday season, understand that's the moment you evaluate yourself. Have I been returning to the state of being the person who has my desire? Or have I instead been doing it here and there, and then equally returning to lack and identifying with the 3D and feeling bad about myself, questioning myself, have I done it right? Is this gonna work? Blah, 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 like all this stuff, right? And if the answer is the second option, then of course, you should be relieved then. Why would you be upset? Because you're literally using the law perfectly. But if you have been doing the first part where you're returning to the state as frequently as you can in a fun way when you are craving it, and you're enjoying that, and you realize that because you are returning to the state that you prefer to experience, meaning the world that you prefer to experience, the awareness of the world that you prefer to experience, as opposed to this crap over here, this crappy old 3D, and you know that you've been doing that, then logically, doesn't it make sense that you can expect the 3D to change, except you just don't know when? That's how you're supposed to look at it. If you know it's going to change, then you're supposed to be able to appreciate that and to understand, hey, I don't know when it's going to change. I don't really care. I just know it will. Why? Because there's this thing inside of me that is connected to Source. It's a piece of God, the Almighty. And if that thing is going to figure out the hard part for me, and all I need to do is to work with it by returning to the state, then why on earth would you be upset? Instead of being in joy and excitement and happiness and relief and appreciation and gratitude, whatever you want to call it, doesn't matter. For me, when I return to states, I often feel relief because first I accept that new state, I step into it, so therefore my beliefs temporarily changed, and because my beliefs have changed in that moment, therefore the emotion is unlocked, and that's for me relief, right? Of course, it doesn't have to work that way for everyone. For me, it's very easy to feel emotions, right? But for some people, it's not, and that's okay. Remember, indifference is a feeling in itself. But I want you guys all to realize, okay, my 3D is simply showing me what I don't want. So if my 3D is showing me what I don't want, then what do I want? What do I prefer? And that is the little part of the game that I want you guys playing. That's the little trick I want you guys to use. It's, okay, I'm aware of what I don't want, but what do I want instead? What would I prefer instead? And more importantly, how would it feel if I was experiencing that? All right? How would I, what conviction would I have if this was true? Because remember, the feeling that Neville talks about, the feeling is a secret. He's not talking about emotion. He clarifies this. Although emotion does play a very important role if you know how to use it and stuff like that, because of course you don't want to return to negative emotions consistently. But if it's very simple like me, where, I can accept a fact like that and then experience the emotions that come after due to the new beliefs that I stepped into. That's great, right? But don't worry about that. He talks about the knowing instead. It's the conviction that it's done. It's who you are. It's the knowing, right? And to kind of leave you guys with a quote, before I kind of end this video, I just want to go a little bit into this quote. And I share this quote with you all the time. It says, imagine whatever you desire. Believe you will receive it. Key right there, believe you will receive it, and go about your business in the world with patience and confidence, knowing your desire will erupt and become a reality. Okay, guys? Remember that, knowing your desire will erupt and become a reality. It will, notice how he said become a reality, not has become a reality, will become a reality. He's not telling you to be delusional and to believe that it has changed already. He's literally telling you, hey, wait a minute. I have to trust that what I'm doing on the inside is actually fact. And if I keep returning to the new facts, in other words, the new belief, the new self-concept, then that self-concept is going to become who I am. And once it becomes who I am naturally through the returning of that state, then I can know that it's going to change. I don't know if today is going to be the day that it becomes who I am. I don't know if tomorrow is going to be the day. I don't give a crap. I just know it will happen if I am consistent and disciplined. And the question becomes, are you disciplined? And if the answer is no, then take a big sigh of relief. Whew. Why is that? Because you understand that you haven't been mental dieting properly. You haven't been identifying with your preferred reality, with your preferred self. Therefore, how on earth can your 3D change if you haven't changed? And that's the big sigh of relief. That's the big aha moment. Oh, wait a minute. I wasn't doing everything perfect. I was literally returning to lack equally as I was returning to fulfillment, or even worse, doing it more. And therefore, that's why my 3D hasn't changed. So there's still hope. There's still a little tweak I can make. And that's how I want you guys to look at things, okay? And when you start realizing it's that simple, that's when it all hits you. You realize it's my job to make the decision to trust that my inner world is going to reflect and become my outer. It's my decision to know that even though I don't see results, I can look at what I don't like and still choose to go to where I would prefer to be, to what I would prefer to experience, right? So remember, when I see the things I don't like, so for example, let's say I'm manifesting money. Let's say I only had $1 in my bank account, and I open my banking app and I'm like, okay, let me see. Boom, $1. Okay. Who in the world is going to force me once I see that $1? Who is forcing me? Who has a gun to my head and is saying, okay, Michael, you have to literally feel like crap, and you have to doubt yourself, and you have to feel like nothing's going to change and that this is all bullcrap? Nobody. That's my choice. Instead, I look at that dollar, and instead I start focusing on what if there was a couple more zeros at the end, right? So, it's like, okay, so let's say there's like 3 zeros total. So, it's like, $1,000, even 10,000, you add more zeros, 100,000, it doesn't matter, but pick a number, pick a thing you want, right? And that's what I would do. I pick something that I want and I start focusing on, but what if I had this instead? So I see with my eyes the thing I don't like, but I can focus on what I prefer instead. And when you start focusing on what you prefer instead, and you start changing how you feel about what you're seeing, then you start practicing indifference to the 3D. You start realizing it doesn't matter what I do on the outside, because my inside is gonna change, right? So therefore, I don't have to look at this and work super hard for more money. If I just want money a certain way, my higher self's got that, right? My higher self's gonna figure that out. I don't have to sit here and do the hard part. My higher self knows things beyond my knowledge, right? It's gonna move mountains for me. But my job is to work with it so it can move the mountains for me. So I see that $1, and instead I'm looking at 10,000. Oh, how would I feel if I was so used to having $1 always, but I finally had 10,000? My goodness, I'd be so relieved. Thank you, right? I'd be like, this is awesome. Like, I can go buy whatever I want. And I start contemplating that and enjoying that for just a second, right? And then, of course, I'm going to go back to my default dwelling state. And guess what? That's okay. I'm just going to make sure I don't contradict that state that I just entered until I do it again, right? And that's the mistake a lot of people make. So, that being said, the whole point of this video is look at your 3D and understand that you have to decide what you are going to accept in your 3D. And also in your inner world, right? Yes, I can see my 3D has not changed. Yes, I know Christmas is tomorrow, but if you know for a fact, if you start being disciplined, in the next 30 days, your whole world can change, then does it really matter if tomorrow doesn't come the way that you prefer? No, but if I was you, I would start contemplating, what does Christmas Day look like with them, right? What if they just showed up randomly, or they gave you a text message, I miss you so much, or you got confirmation that deal went through, or you got the money you wanted, right? Whatever goal it is, just insert that. It doesn't matter, right? The rules don't change based on the manifestation. That's why I don't talk about certain things like height or, other things that I deem unimportant, right? It's because the law is applied the same way. SP and money are like the two biggest things. So, that being said, I just want to leave you guys with that. I want you guys to really think about that, to ponder that, and I'm going to release a video for New Year's as well for you guys, and it's going to be something really inspirational, to say the least. And it's going to be something that I want you guys to follow for the first, month of the New Year's, right? Or whenever you discover the video and you kind of, go into it. And before I let you guys go, I'm going to ask you guys one thing. And I was talking with my partner, right? My girlfriend. As you guys already know, she is very knowledgeable about the law, right? We talk about the law daily. She's very helpful. She's super sweet. I'm very lucky to have her. I always, I feel that way. Like, I'm so blessed. I always tell her all the time, like, I'm so grateful we found each other. And, she kind of, like, I kind of want her to start teaching the law, right? And I wanted to ask you guys, do you think I should, like, would you guys like to see her make some content for you guys as well? She has a psychology degree, like she's got her master's in psychology and stuff, and she might even go for a PhD, so you might have the knowledge of a doctor who understands the mind but also understands the law on a very deep level, right? Keep in mind, she's not someone who learns off YouTube. She actually reads the same material I do. We study the same material, and we go into it deep. And I kind of want her to kind of help you guys, to just give out content, for free, and to teach you guys and stuff. And, if you guys would like that, just please let me know in the comments if you think that's a good idea. That way I can say, hey, sweetie, look, there's people who want to hear you talk and stuff like that, right? And of course, we'll be doing videos together regardless, but, just think about that. And if you guys would like that and you think it'd be a good idea and you want to see her perspective on things, let us know. And, she'll be reading the comments, and I'm sure that, the inspiration and the kind words that you guys will leave her will be enough inspiration to kind of convince her to make her first video, right? So that being said, if you got anything of value in this video, I want to thank you very much, and I just ask for that like once more if you learned anything valuable or this helped you in any form, because right now there are a lot of people suffering, and if this video reaches those people, then good, because that being said, it's going to help them as well. So, I hope you guys all have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year's if I don't see you by then, but, I'll definitely post the video either the day after New Year's or somewhere around there, and I want you guys to really understand this stuff ain't scary. Stop being so afraid, right? Just enjoy yourself. Enjoy your life. Have fun, okay? There's nothing to fear. You are in full control in here. There's nothing forcing you to think anything. It's you. So when you realize that you're in full control, what is there to fear, guys? Come on. It's just a game. Play the game, okay? Take care, guys, and I love you all.